Okay, what do we have here? This was a Jackson Amps Scarlet 30 that we had down at church. But for some whatever reason, I'm not sure what happened. Maybe a lightning strike, I don't know. But when I got it, it wasn't working. The guys let me know it wasn't working. The fuse was blown, so I brought it home to check it out. And as it turns out, after looking through it, the power transformer, the high tension side of the transformer was actually, the winding is open. So something had smoked. I don't know if they put a bigger fuse in or not. I didn't check that close, but I knew I put another, I think it was a 2 amp or 3 amp fuse in it, and it popped it immediately. So I started looking around on inside of it. There was some smoked. Brad put these things together, Jackson amps with like little boards on top of like the rectifier tubes and all the tubes. That's where like the plate resistors and things like that go. But part of that little board was smoked. You could see where the magic smoke came out. It was burnt. There was a resistor popped. So then I started looking. There was another board that was kind of messed up. The amp was fairly complex. I had power scaling. It was a 30 watt half power or something like that, and had all kinds of cool stuff. Really great sounding amp. But whatever happened to kill this thing, this big old power transformer, the high voltage side of that thing is dead. So I could probably still use it for like a 5 volt and a 6.3 volt heaters, but maybe when I'm testing something, but this thing is gone. So I sent them an email saying, hey, any chance of getting this thing? Can you send me the specs? The board, it was a very nice amp, but it was put together with like these thick printed circuit boards with the traces, kind of covered up. So, it was a really nice construction, but, not having a circuit diagram, being able to track it down, I just kind of basically decided, okay, if I buy a new transformer, that's going to be several $100. If I start troubleshooting, who knows what else is smoked inside of the thing with the power scaling and all that jazz. So basically I just gave up and said, I'm going to do it. I've always wanted to build an amplifier, so this is my chance. The little output transformer, I think, is still good. So, it all checks out good. I'll have to, do some, see what the, the impedance on the, the winding ratio between the primary and secondary is and all that kind of stuff, and figure out exactly what that is. That may make another, it's an AC style amp, so I may do another AC 15 or AC 30 style amp, because that's a good little transformer right there. It's kind of expensive. But this is what we ended up with. So I bought the small parts kit and the chassis from Ceriatone. I bought the transformers actually from TDS Transformer Design and Supply in California, that supplies Matchless. So this is basically a clone of a Matchless Spitfire. There's several things I did not do. I didn't put the master defeat switch on. I did add the bright switch. There's no effects loops. It's a very simple EL84 amplifier, so I wanted to keep it simple. If you've seen Jackson amps, you can tell I had to kind of modify this thing to make it fit. But this is what it is. It's a Spitfire clone with the actual transformers from TDS. Wanted to do a little video, kind of, if anybody wants to build one of these with those transformers, this is basically what it sounds like. I did make some changes to kind of the layout inside of the chassis, just trying to keep it as quiet as possible. Like the input section is all point to point. So as soon as it comes in, it doesn't go to the board. It's all point to point. I use shielded wires from the input jacks down to the tubes and everything. So it should have a direct path and should be grounded. It's fairly quiet. The speaker inside of it is what came with the Scarlet 30, which is a 16 ohm Celestion Alnico Gold. So that is a very nice speaker, and I think it matches really well. Show you the back of it. It looks like a closed cab, but it's really not. It's ported on the side. So that's the other thing. I use this cabinet because it's just a really nice cabinet. So that's how I made it fit. Had to do some woodwork and peel back some Tolex and glue it back down. But let me get set up here and I'll show you how it sounds. Hopefully it'll sound good on the GoPro. Okay, back again. I kind of tilted the amp back a little bit so to get better sound in the room. Just to show you what's happening here is I've got, this is a PRS Zach Myers, pretty much stock. It is stock. There's my board. Not a whole lot happening on there, but I may turn on some effects, but I really want you to hear the sound of the amp. It's kind of difficult because the thing sounds so good with like this delay pedal and things happening. So I'll just play some dry sounds first, and maybe try a couple of my overdrive pedals. I mean, I have a Ryra clone kind of a thing happening there, and then a SL drive for the really dirty, if you want to rock out. There's an analog man delay, sounds really good. We've got a couple of different, a Flint for the reverbs and tremolo, and then for the crazy reverbs, this Trinity reverb. So not a lot on the board there. You got a volume pedal, of course. I do have this Layla P-split, so I can run it to dual amps. So I've tried it so far. Dual, it's not really stereo, but it's 2 amps at once. And you know, I've tried it with the Friedman. Of course, the Friedman sounds good with anything by itself or with anything. And I've also tried it with the Mesa Lone Star, big 100-watt, super clean. It's kind of like a super reverb, kind of Fendery thing. So it kind of fills in all those frequencies that this doesn't have. But this is just the chimey, just rock and roll. It cleans up pretty good. The way I've had it set up, I'll put some pictures in of kind of how I set up the inside of it and how I wired it. But it can get pretty rowdy, but it gets noisy, or not noisy, but it gets really loud. So these are the settings. Not much happening there. The bright switch up is less bright, down is more bright. So I think it comes with a 180 picofarad bright cap. The up position I think is a 68 picofarad, so it kind of tames that chimey high end a little bit. I think as you crank it up, it kind of fills out the middle a little bit more, so it sounds better. But anyhow, let me stop talking and fire this thing up. Let me set the GoPro over here. This is the bridge pickup. I've got the tone on the guitar turned down to about 7 or 8. Just kind of get some of that ice pick off of it, but that's what it sounds like. So you can tell even without reverb pedal or anything, it's just chimey and swirly. I just really dig it. For comparison, here's the brighter setting. Too much. Now, I will say this, with a band, that may sound better. I don't know.
Got one there. Here's the middle. We'll say I'm also going into input number 2, which is the padded input for humbuckers. So with the input number 1, it gets a little too hot. Although it's very touch sensitive. So you can play, like even just while even changing the volume on the amp. That's why I want to do a video, just really just so I can, when I take this back down to church, just to remember how it's fairly quiet. Okay, so let's do something here. Let's turn on the delay pedal. See what happens here. So. Tremolo. Let's do some dirt pedal. Here we go. Classic rock. Okay, see what it does with the guitar volume. So it cleans up. They still have that little growl to it. Okay, like I said, that's where I like the best. So let's do this. Let's turn the master down. Well, while we're here, let's try the tone control. So, tone at 0. Two on the dial, which is 9 o'clock. Here's that 5 on the dial, which is 12 o'clock. So you can see as the tone goes down, the volume goes down a little bit too. You have it here. Pretty dull. Three o'clock or 8 on the dial. And all the way up. So it really just kind of flavors of the same thing. Let's do this to the master down. Because that's where it's really sounds open. Lots of, not much compression, you've got lots of dynamic. Classic rock all the way. Okay, so let's go master down. 1 master. Okay, let's go regular volume or gain, whatever you're going to call it, up to 5, which is 12 o'clock. So it's about the same volume, really, as I had it before. Go over here to 8 on the dial. So here I want to turn down the tone a little bit. It's a little cutting, but you get more gain. Now, more gain, sounds a little more direct. I don't know, the harmonic content changes a little bit. I actually prefer it with the master open up a little bit more. But really, I have yet to find a place where the amp does not sound good. So let's go crank the volume. Splatty loud. Okay, let's go back where I like it. A little better to control. Of course, I'm just in this little bitty room too, so I mean. Let's try a light overdrive with the Ryra clone. reverb. This is the Flint. Wrong button. That's the tremolo. Reverb. Crazy reverb. Crazy reverb with the delay. Ooh, that's almost too much. Yeah, that's no effect, so that to me just sounds awesome. It's got this real percussive kind of feel to it too. It sounds really good. You start doing that palm muting, it sounds really cool. classic rock. Let's see if I can do some John Cougar. Let's see if I remember how to do this. Love the way that sounds. Try another third day song. Let me try it over here too. Yeah, fellas, that's no pedals at all. Just this super chimey, swirly, almost sounds like it has reverb. Very touch sensitive. Not changing anything from here. Makes you want to play. And I'm a pretty mediocre player.
Okay, battery's about to run out, but I want to bring it down here just so you can hear. You hear a little bit of hum right down next to it. It's actually a very quiet amp. This is with the guitar input muted at the tuner. I mean, it's not dead silent, so I don't know. We'll see what they say when I take it to church tomorrow, but as far for like playing live, like standing here, it just sounds very quiet. I'm really digging it. So anyhow, just tell myself it goes back into the church. Maybe someday I'll build another one. I mean, that's the thing about building an amp. It's not, you don't really get a cheaper amp. I mean, if you buy a used Matchless, you're going to pay, $1,200, $1,500 for a Spitfire. But, it's the Transformer set was like $350. The kit was like $400. I already had the speaker, had to buy some wire and some stuff like that to kind of round it out a little bit, and new tip for the soldering iron, stuff like that. But I mean, you're going to be in it for, $800 or $900 at least. If you have to buy speakers and stuff like that, you're going to spend $1,000 building one, but you have the satisfaction of building it on your own. And so when I fired it up, you do the whole thing where you bring it up on a variac with a light bulb limiter and check voltages and things like that. And it passed all that. I did change there's a cathode bias resistor. There was quite a bit of current going through the power tubes. You're checking their dissipation, but part of the sound of these things is really running those EL84s really hot, running a lot of current through them. So, I mean, it's part of the sound. It sounds really good. I'm not sure how long the tubes will last, but right now it sounds good. It called for I think it was 120 ohm resistor, the big ceramic resistor, and I ended up putting 150 in there, I think, just to kind of cool it down a little bit. But it's still running pretty hot. Can't remember what I calculated. It's EL84s. I think they want 12 watts of dissipation, but it's still running close to 13.7 or something like that. If you look in the book, that's what it says for an EL84. So they run them a little bit hotter. I got JJ EL84s in it right now, but we'll see how long they last. But right now it sounds really good. I'm liking it.